Everyone, and welcome back to my final episode of 1010 Beyond the Vlogger. Before we meet my final guest, I just want to say a big, huge thank you to all of you who've tuned in over the last 7 weeks. I appreciate your support, your feedback, your comments, and indeed I hope you've learned a thing or two about the motor vloggers I've been interviewing along the way. So, without further ado, my last guest, well, the clue is in his name, really. He's English, he's a biker, and he's called Dan. You guessed it, it's English biker Dan. Dan, you're very welcome.
Hey Dave, how are you doing? You all right?
All good, all good.
Excellent.
Dan, I've loads to ask you, same old story, loads to ask you, and little time to ask you in. So, are you happy if I start the rev countdown?
Absolutely. Okay. You go for it, yeah.
Here we go. So, 10 minutes starting now. Okay. Got to ask you, Dan, your amount of knowledge about motorbikes is astounding. Are you a bike nerd, or do you put in an awful lot of preparation before you go out and do a bike review? I'm so envious of the amount of information you retain.
It's mainly prep, I'll be honest with you. Before getting into the vlogging stuff, I knew of bikes, I knew the different makes, but I didn't know the technical specs or what they meant necessarily. But yeah, I do a lot of just repeating the information till it stays in there, hopefully. Sometimes I do get it wrong, but yeah, it's just a lot of repetition. And it's like being at school, it's like doing homework,
You clearly enjoy it. What do you get out of riding motorcycles? What do you get out of running your YouTube channel? Why do you do it?
Oh God, I've asked myself that many times. Motorcycling is, for me, it's when you're riding a motorcycle, I can't think of anything else. So it's a way of me just to escape the kind of stresses of everyday life and just enjoy. And it's very liberating. I find it a very liberating experience. You feel very connected to the environment you're riding through. Yeah, more so than being in any other form of transport, I think. But and the vlogging stuff it was born out of a kind of want to record what happens when you ride a motorcycle, and it's kind of evolved into reviews. But I initially did it to kind of show people, this is what happens when you're riding a bike. People pull out on you, you get all sorts of crazy stuff happening. But yeah, it's I love motorbikes. I'm absolutely obsessed, as I'm sure you are, Dave.
Here, absolutely. I'm with you there, brother. One thing I have noticed, Dan, I hope you don't mind me touching on this, is whilst you offer up a plethora of information about every motorbike you ride, I've noticed, I've followed you for a good while now. I think your channel's been going for 5 years, and I've noticed you offer very little of yourself within your videos. Are you a private person? Do you do that on purpose, or maybe you don't realize that you're not offering up much information about yourself?
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, it's not something I've thought about too much, but I'm naturally an introvert. But doing the YouTube stuff has brought me out of my shell quite a bit. I have recently started doing a bit more stuff to the camera, the pieces to camera, like you do at the beginning of your videos. It's not something I'm comfortable with. I'm not sure I'd ever be fully comfortable with it, but I am trying to embrace it and, grow with my own. What is it they say? Once you're out of your comfort zone, that's when you're really living. So I'm trying to embrace that philosophy.
Good stuff. Well, maybe I can get you to offer something of yourself now. What do you do when you're not riding motorbikes, when you're away from YouTube? Do you have a job? What makes you tick?
Yeah, I have a full-time job, so I fit the YouTube in around that. I work in IT for a university here in Surrey, and hobbies, I've got so many hobbies, too many. My girlfriends say they're all very expensive hobbies, but yeah, I love photography. I guess my biggest hobby other than motorcycles is scale models, and that's really nerdy. But, like the Airfix kits, and I actually started a YouTube channel on that as well. So talk about doing too much work.
That sounds brilliant. Indeed, when I was younger, I've got 4 kids, so I don't get the time to have as many hobbies as you by the sounds of it. But I used to love messing around with Airfix kits and scale models and everything. Indeed, I'm a very keen flyer. and it all started from building the airfix kits of aeroplanes. And indeed, I'm
Right. Yeah.
sure that's possibly how I got onto motorbikes as well. I'm
Yeah.
sure
Maybe.
I made many a kit of motorcycles. You mentioned your girlfriend there. Do you have children?
No. No. No children.
And
She says I'm enough.
what does your girlfriend think of your YouTube success?
She loves it and loathes it in equal measure, I'd say, because it does mean, unfortunately, I'm very busy in my free time. So I do sometimes get we need a weekend together. Subtle, not so subtle hint. I'm sure you know how it is. Whenever there's good weather, you just want to be out on the bike doing something for YouTube, creating content.
Yeah,
and sometimes you do have to be reminded that there are other priorities in life, and that's true.
My 4 children remind me every weekend. Yeah, it's definitely turned into a bit of an addiction, all right. But sure, in fact, my eldest child, he's seen the happiness I get from riding bikes again. Because I'll not go into it now, but I was away from bikes for a good long time after having an accident when I was in my 20s. So he's seen just how much life it's pumping back into me, and he's dying to get into it as well. But anyway, that's for another day. Technical question here, Dan.
Yeah.
Have you worked out the YouTube algorithm?
Do you know what? It still befuddles me completely. The only thing I think is consistency. But again, I'm doing one video a week at the moment, but I don't think I can keep that up realistically, because I've got no other time for anything else other than my job and YouTube, and I keep getting reminded that as I said earlier, there's other stuff I need to be doing. But yeah, it's consistency, I think. But I'm still working on it, Dave.
Good. A quick question. What's your favorite bike, your dream bike?
Oh, God, it's not one bike. If I could, I'd have 30, probably even more, because, I'd love a collection. My dream garage is, race bikes. It's old bikes from, the 20s and 30s up to modern race bikes and everything in between. If I could have just one bike, maybe a GS. If I'm honest, I think the new 250 could sway me, and I know people are gonna not like that answer, but I think that's probably the honest answer. Yeah, I think a GS is in my future at some point. I hear really good things about the new 1250. I rode the 1200 that you have, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I'm totally in love with it, and everybody watching this, I'm sure, knows how I felt about my FJR. And when I sold the FJR, the BMW 1200 just sat right in its place. But that's something I want to do another video on in the very near future, because as much as I love the BMW, it really annoys me, the stigma attached to owning one. I mean, I've noticed when I'm out on the road, even other riders don't wave at you or acknowledge you anymore. What is that about?
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't understand it. But then, I think when I did my Tiger 850 reveal, there was so many comments. No, at least you didn't get BMW, and I was like, wow, they are fantastic bikes. And perhaps it's just that air of, I don't know, I guess the air of superiority that some people assume that BMW riders have, but I don't think it's necessarily true. But I don't know.
I hope it's not true, because I can vouch I'm certainly not one of them.
Yeah, you seem like a nice guy, Dave.
However, I did post on one of the social media forums fairly recently, because I'm looking for recommendations on new tyres. And it was ridiculous how I got slated just for asking a tyre question on a BMW forum. And any other forum I'm on, the FGR forums, the Royal Enfield forums, when I ask that, I get all the help in the world. But that one experience of being on the forums and asking a question, I thought, okay, maybe there's an element.
Maybe this is where it comes from. Right. Okay.
So it's very interesting. So, in fact, if anybody else watching this owns a BMW GS, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment below. We're running out of time, as always, Dan. So I've got a couple of questions left to ask you. Your best achievement to date as a moto vlogger on YouTube?
Achievement. I mean, going to the press launch of the Trident in Tenerife, that was up there as the best experience so far as a vlogger. That was fantastic, because I got to meet, the people I've been watching over the past 10 years, you know, the MCN guys, you know, 44 Teeth, I met Fagan, you know, all the people, John Hogan, all these awesome guys, these journalists that I've been watching and you know, enjoying their videos. And I got to meet them, and they're just all brilliant people.
That's a
And
little bit
also,
like that. That's a little bit like me doing this series. I've been watching you guys for years, and now
I
I'm not just
appreciate it.
getting to meet you, but I'm getting to ask you the questions I want to ask you as well. So,
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
thank you so much again for doing this.
You're welcome.
Last
No problem.
question:
Yeah.
where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, Dan?
Oh, this is like a job interview, isn't it? I didn't. Gosh, do you mean to in relation to the YouTube stuff or
I do.
generally?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping I'll get to that 100,000. Not that the numbers really matter, because you can get a bit hung up on the numbers. I'd like to get it, just like a little play button, just so I can show it off, and people ask me questions hopefully about it when they see it at home, or they probably won't care, to be honest. I'd like to just keep growing my audience. It's mainly about my audience and providing content and entertainment for people. That's what I do it for, and riding lots of awesome bikes as well. That's not too bad either, is it?
Well, I wish you many happy miles and, of course, many happy smiles, Dan. Thank you so
Thank you,
much for
Dave.
taking the time to speak to me on the final
Yeah.
episode of 1010 Beyond the Vlogger. I'd also like to thank all the rest of my guests who've joined me in this series. I've just been absolutely honoured and privileged to speak to them all. And, of course, without you sitting watching this at home, well, then I wouldn't make the show anyway. So thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm Dave Perry for Wheelie Good TV. Over and out.